The Tommy Campbell Show. FBI Director Kash Patel is back on the case of bourbon. Usually when a new director takes over, they focus on, crime. But Kash is focused on partying and suing everyone who questions Kash's tactical hydration practices. In fairness, we can't expect a lot of focus from someone whose eyes are all over the place. Those eyes are as twisted as Brian Nome's chest. Someone in the comments said Kash looks like a variable rate mortgage, one eye up, one eye down. And I'll add, both are looking to screw you. Now, reports are out that Kash has been traveling with cases of custom engraved bottles of Woodford Reserve bourbon. It's not just a gift, it's a lifestyle brand. Look at this bottle. He spells his name Kash with a $sign, like a teenager flashing their Call of Duty gamer tag. It features the FBI shield, may as well add his social security number, though he did add number 9, which he says is because he's the 9th director. But we all know it refers to 9 a.m., his version of 5 o'clock somewhere. This bottle is basically his rookie card, and Kash, you missed a mark. You could have done better. That's why I made these for you. We got Kash is cracking. This really leads into the Rumdog Millionaire vibe. You missed a beat, Patel. You chose bourbon when rum was right there. How about a shot of Kash's Knob Creek? Celebrating his dream to go skinny dipping in sewage with RFK Jr. It's small batch, much like his actual list of accomplishments. They were serving Bloody Marys on Air Force One. Did they have it with Timu Colombo's Tito's? Because Peter Falk had one eye that worked better than both of Kash's combined. 6 times distilled, 10 times defamed. Oh, what's that? You're having a margarita? How about some Patel's Patron for when you want to feel like a high-end cartel boss, but on a government salary? It's 100% agave and 100% likely to lead to a polygraph test at 3 a.m. This isn't back the blue, it's blackout the blue. Oh, and you gotta have something more casual. That's why there's Kash's cease and desist cider, the only drink that comes with a pre-filled defamation lawsuit in every 6-pack. It's crisp tart, and we'll sue you for suggesting it's actually fermented. And hey, made with apples, so it's an FBI-approved breakfast beverage. He is handing these bottles out to staff, civilians in Vegas, and apparently anyone who stands still long enough to receive one. It's like he's a mid-tier influencer trying to get a sponsorship deal, but he's doing it with taxpayer-funded security details. Now, if you're wondering how there's even a photo of his bottle, because it's not in his merch store, and he has one. It's because after The Atlantic published a story about Kash Patel's alleged drunkenness, one such bottle went up on an online auction, and The Atlantic purchased it. The person who sold the bottle did not want to be named, but the bottle was a direct gift from Patel at an event in Las Vegas. Again, hilarious.
Subscribe.
Sarah Fitzpatrick of The Atlantic, who he's personally targeting for the drinking and unexplained absences story, bought one of the bottles he gave away. Like, you cannot make this up. Imagine being so desperate to prove you're a serious lawman that you sue a reporter only for that reporter to outbid a random guy in Nevada for the very evidence you said doesn't exist. He's suing over a story about his drinking while the evidence is literally sitting in a shopping cart on eBay. The person who sold it didn't want to be named, probably because they didn't want to be the next person on Kash's to-sue list, but they confirmed it was a gift from a Vegas event. So Sarah Fitzpatrick didn't just write the story, she's now the proud owner of a Kash-branded artifact. It's not just reporting, it's a receipt. Kash is also suing Frank Figluzzi for $30 million for suggesting Kash was hanging out in nightclubs instead of FBI HQ, and Kash is currently using the FBI's own resources to launch a leak investigation into the sources who told the media about his bourbon habit. Normally, these sort of investigations are for who's talking to the Russians, but for Kash, it's to find out who's talking to the bartender. Sarah Fitzpatrick says that Kash took his team in a case of his Kash-branded bourbon to the FBI training facility in Quantico for a training seminar, but it wasn't one on forensics or cyber terrorism. No, he brought in 3 UFC fighters to teach aspiring agents how to brawl, because nothing says federal law enforcement like giving everyone cauliflower ears. But then disaster strikes. One bottle of bourbon, just one, goes missing, and Kash doesn't just get annoyed, he reportedly loses his mind. Well, I guess, did he want it for himself? Was this the problem? Was it the last one? He didn't call a staff meeting he threatened to purge. He told his senior staff he was going to polygraph and prosecute everyone until the bottle was found and ordered a dozen polygraphs. Imagine being a top-tier FBI agent, someone who's tracked down sleeper cells, and now you're strapped to a lie detector. Did you or did you not have an unauthorized two-finger pour of the director's vanity juice? Retired agents are calling it a crap show, and they're right. You've got all the highest trained agents in the room, and the FBI director's having a mental breakdown over 750 milliliters of corn juice. It's not the Federal Bureau of Investigation. It's a high-stakes game of where's my drink? He's treating one of the most elite law enforcement agencies in the world like a frat house trying to one-up Pete Hegseth's Pledge Week at the Pentagon. Kentucky is bleeding $143 million in booze sales, so I'm sure the executives at Woodford Reserve are just thrilled. Their international market is being wiped out by Trump's tariffs, and their new unofficial mascot is elf-on-the-shelf Kash Patel, using their booze to bribe staff while threatening federal agents with polygraphs. When your brand becomes synonymous with Kash Patel losing his mind at 3 a.m. in Quantico, you aren't a premium spirit anymore. You're a punchline. Now, in fairness, Kentucky, you handed Trump 64% of the vote. Canadians aren't just avoiding the bourbon because of the price. They're 86ing it from the shelves along with other red state booze. In Canada alone, one of Kentucky's biggest markets, exports have plummeted 70%. We're talking about a crash from $250 million to just $89 million. Most FBI directors want to be remembered for catching the bad guys. Kash Patel wants to be remembered for having the best bar cart in a building that's falling apart. Now, he wasn't the only one embarrassing himself this week.
When I see Iowa farmers who need to get that E15 to market, Zach, you're gonna have to help me out with her name here. I lost my page here. Okay, all right. Okay, there we go. Sarah Trone Garriott. There he is. I'm on the wrong page here.
I swear, this guy's been embarrassing himself his entire life, and that's why he's changed his name so many times. He's trying to get away from himself again and again. JD Vance wants to be the thinking man's populist, the Yale-educated intellectual who's here to explain the world to us. But here he is standing there, like a high schooler who just realized he's given a book report on one he's never read. He's really given off the Russell Brand flipping through the Bible for his favorite passage vibes. Zach, you're going to have to help me out here. I kind of hoped the guy from Saved by the Bell was going to show up. So who is Zach? Okay, that's Zach Nunn, the local congressman he was there to campaign for, and Vance couldn't name his opponent, Sarah Trone Garriott. This is the guy who's supposed to be the heir to the Cheeto-dusted MAGA throne, and he couldn't just improvise a little. He just zoned out and started thinking about the couch cushions in his hotel room.
Most know my husband as the strong commander-in-chief, but his empathy transcends the role and shape a caring leader who constantly remembers each and every American soldier is someone's child.
They have spell correct and word correct on these crazy machines that we use to put out truths, or they used to be called tweets. And every time I wrote Melania, it would correct to Melody. So I'd do things, and I work very fast, blah, 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 and I talk about it, and I say, and Melania is fantastic, and happy Mother's Day, Melania, our great First Lady, Melania, but it would spell correct and word correct to Melody, and sometimes I wouldn't proofread it, and I'd say, and I would get just absolute decimated. These people would decimate. They said he didn't know the name of his wife. He keeps calling her. And I said, what the hell is wrong with this machine? I didn't know about that little feature, but I got that corrected eventually. You know who corrected? The military. I said, come here, you got to correct this. You're killing me.
Even a loaded audience couldn't keep it in. She says empathy, and they burst out laughing. Oh, it's just magical. I mean, you could see the moment she realizes the whole caring leader brand isn't exactly landing well with the room. And Donald, he's smirking because he knows it's all BS too. But he's out there failing a cognitive test in real time, telling us a story about how he's confused by how phones work. Melania, Melody, Melanie. He often called her Melanie in the early days, but now he's added Melody to the rotation and trying to blame it on the phone's autocorrect. Come on. You just said you don't proofread. You're a president. That's terrifying. And at a glance, you should definitely be able to notice your wife's name spelled completely wrong. It's a different name. It's a different name.
They should wave the white flag of surrender. In hockey, they say, uncle, right? When are they gonna cry uncle?
See, it's not just about him forgetting names and blaming spell check. It's about how he thinks the rest of the world works. He wants to be seen as this like art of the deal powerhouse, but when he tries to use sports metaphors to sound alpha, he comes across like the kid that was never allowed to play outside. The playoffs are on right now, and players are beating the heck out of each other as we speak. And I assure you, you can watch every game from now until the cup, and you will not see a single player cry uncle. Crying uncle isn't a hockey thing. It's what happens in a schoolyard fight in 1974 when a bully sits on your chest and won't let you up until you admit he's king of the tetherball court. The guy who started a war with Iran is trying to use a hockey analogy for a place that's a desert, thinking he's going to get through to them when the terminology isn't even in the sport. It's all kinds of wrong. Everything is wrong with this man. A Secret Service agent on a protective detail was found in a hotel hallway at the Doubletree in Doral, not just off duty, but completely compromised. We aren't talking about a lapse in concentration. We're talking about an agent completely naked, taking himself to Pound Town in the middle of a public corridor. Trump is currently building a ballroom and using the recent security breach of the Washington Hilton as the argument for needing a secure perimeter to keep the bad guys out. But it doesn't matter how high you build the walls or how big the ballroom is if the guys holding the keys have the self-control of Kash Patel at an open bar. You cannot build a fortress secure enough to protect you from a guy who treats a Hilton hallway like an old gym sock. A couple reported that they were returning to their room on the 6th floor when they encountered the officer John A. Spillman in the hallway. He reportedly followed them, and as they reached their door and were trying to get inside, they looked back and saw him with his pants down, actively engaged in doing the deed to himself. They managed to get in their room and call security, telling police they were in fear of their lives because of his erratic behavior. Officer Spillman, with a name like that, it's no shocker that he was trying to spill some between the ice machine and the elevator. Officer Spillman sounds less like a real person and more like the name of an old Peter North film you'd find in your dad's closet. Now, Trump has cultivated this bro culture where everything is locker room talk. It's just the kind of vibe where an agent thinks, oh, I'll just stalk a couple back to their room, and when they don't want me to join them, I'll sort myself out in the hallway. They're called the Secret Service for a reason, but there's nothing secret about your business when you're found on the 6th floor like a frat pledge who lost his room key. We've moved past elite protection and straight into the not-so-secret service. At this point, the service they're providing is mostly just a cautionary tale for the hotel cleaning staff. And honestly, I think we finally solved the mystery of the missing bourbon, or at least another member of the team that got a bottle. I think we know exactly who he gifted one to. You don't end up passed out in a hallway because of a security lapse. You end up there because you had a 3-finger pour of the director's 90-proof Rumdog Millionaire blend and forgot which side of the door you were supposed to be on. I make this independent show on my own. If you love what I do, consider leaving me a tip, become a member for extras, hit up my referral links, and stream my stand-up on Spotify. Now, while Trump is out there inventing new sports rules and forgetting his wife's name, his economic advisor, Kevin Hassett, is busy trying to convince the USA that being broke is the new winning.
In fact, I had the head of one of the big 5 banks in my office yesterday going through the credit card data, and just as Secretary Bessent said, credit card spending is through the roof. They're spending more on gasoline, but they're spending more on everything else too. And so in terms of the jobs picture for the rest of the year, it's really hard to see having the unemployment rate go up, for example. It's probably going to drop a little bit, but it's already very close to full employment.
He's literally bragging that credit card spending is through the roof. He's framing maxed out visas as a robust jobs picture. That's like a doctor looking at a guy with 104-degree fever and saying, oh, you're so hot right now. I love it. They aren't spending more because they're suddenly big spenders. They're spending more because every move Trump has made things more expensive, and not just in the USA, around the world, from his tariffs to the Iran war. You just had Rick Harrison from Pawn Stars on to tell Trump he's a great president, business is booming. You know when pawn shops and payday loans thrive? When things are in the toilet. Trump is out there taking economic advice from a guy whose entire business model is, best I can do for your soul is $20. If the Pawn Stars guy is winning, everyone else is definitely losing. Why bash the greatest president America ever has? Thank you for that masterclass in grammar. Greatest America ever has. He's not the greatest, and the only reason he's even getting a second go at this is because he got voted back in by people like you that think a sentence is something you just has. Magateers. A real comedian wouldn't pick a side. First off, I performed in 35 countries over 25 years, from clubs to arenas. My stand-up has millions of streams on Spotify. Every comedian picks a side. Without an opinion, you aren't a comedian, you're a narrator. We pick sides on everything: relationships, kids, pop culture, food, politics. It's hilarious that the same people who rail against participation trophies are the ones demanding comedians don't have takes. If I didn't have an opinion, I wouldn't be doing a show. Magateers. 100% agave and 100% likely to lead to a polygraph test at 3 a.m. This isn't black. It's 100% agave and 100% likely to lead to a polygraph test at 3 a.m. This isn't back the blue. It's blackout the blue. Get them all wasted. Top tier FBI agent, someone who's tracked down sleeper cells and now you're strapped to a lie detector. Did you or did you not have an unauthorized sip of the director's knob cream? But there's nothing secret about your business when you're found on the 6th floor like a frat pledge having trouble with Oregon. I can confirm the Tommy Campbell Show is the best political comedy show on YouTube. And I hope you subscribe.